Hey,
Hi.
this is the G Club,
Hi.
Sure.
Hey.
and we're going to talk about games and other stuff.
All right, fine.
Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Today we're talking about Overwatch.
Everyone's
Because Overwatch
favorite
is
game.
always relevant. We were going to talk about Zelda a while ago. Nope, no one's talking about Zelda anymore. So
Is nobody talking about Zelda
who's
anymore?
talking about Zelda?
Nah,
I feel like the
it's
hardcores
over.
of...
The internet moves
mean,
too fast, dude.
I recently saw an exploit that somebody just found out about Eventide.
Really?
Yeah, apparently you can... You know how you can throw swords?
Yeah.
So you can be outside of the distance
What?
of Eventide and throw swords onto the shore.
What?
And then go on Eventide and they'll stay there. So then you
Holy
can
crap.
you could just throw like level 80 swords over there and then you lose all your shit but the swords stay there.
That's nuts.
Yeah.
That's
I
sort of
just-
like
and then you just pick
against
'em up again.
against the spirit of Eventide Island, though, right?
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah, but if you're like... I mean, I'm enjoying watching like the speedrun community tackling this game because they basically don't care, as far as I can tell, they don't care about beating the game as fast as possible anymore.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like, yeah, you can do it really fast. Now they're trying to do all dungeons, and it's like 3 hours 40 is like the speedrun for that.
3 hours
Yeah,
40.
doing all the dungeons and then doing the final boss.
It's pretty fast.
Yeah,
You
but
mean the
just
4 dungeons and
yeah.
then the wow.
so you have all the things.
Good lord.
But anyway, we're gonna talk about Overwatch.
Okay.
I think the important
But-
thing to start off with is who is your main and who is your bae.
Well, let's introduce ourselves before that.
Oh, well, sorry.
Vernon.
Hey, it's me, Vernon.
That's
Not usually on this.
Vernon Shaw, formerly of Hot Pepper Gaming, now of GameGrumps and Scare to Care.
Creator
Yeah.
of the Harlem Shake.
Oh no, I don't want to have that
Sole
conversation
proprietor.
on the record.
Oh boy.
But the thing was, I wasn't
Solely
technically,
responsible, Vernon Shaw.
Oh,
you were
God.
responsible for the meme of it being like a group thing.
I guess.
You were responsible for that video of the kid who's like, "Do the Harlem Shake," and then everyone's like, "Shut up!" Like,
That cringe
I will.
video?
I will take credit for that.
That was your fault. That
Future 30 under 30 Vernon Shaw. Thank you for being
I
here.
got 2 years.
Thank you for being
Hello,
here.
thank you for having me. I play
Susie.
Overwatch.
Hi, yeah, I'm Susie. I'm from Kitty Cat Gaming and also a member of GameGrumps. What's up? Wait, we're not talking about our mains or anything
And
right
Not
now.
creator,
yet.
creator
What-
of
what
the
embarrassing memes have
Dust
you
to
created?
Dust Jewelry collection.
Yeah, that's right. I run a shop called PsychicCircleOddities.com.
What
If you're
memes are
into
you
weird
responsible
stuff.
for?
None.
She's responsible for the proliferation of memes.
I
That's
I
true.
see the gif of you from the Christmas commercial where you're like, "Don't embarrass me in front of the internet."
oh
Oh
yeah.
yeah,
I see that around from
makes
time to
it
time.
around.
Pretty good.
Yeah, too bad.
Around Christmas time, it gets really big again.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Don't
Cool.
embarrass me.
it's always
You're
appropriate.
embarrassing me right now. Don't
Barry, what
embarrass
about
me.
you?
Oh, hi, I'm Barry, and I do stuff with Game Grumps and have for what feels like half of my life at this point.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
4
been a while.
years.
Yeah,
No, it's been over 4 years.
Almost
It's
five.
been 5.
4.5.
Just July.
Yeah,
I-
GameGrumps'
I-
fifth birthday
4
is
years.
July. No,
Grumps-
it's his 5th birthday in July.
Oh, wait, yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. You were.
and
here
I
when
started
John was here.
in September 2012.
Yeah.
So almost 5 years.
Yeah. I just have it in my head. Like Dan is the big chef.
That's an eternity in YouTube time. Just
Yeah.
internet time. 5
Yeah.
years?
Yeah, that is
Get
a
outta
long
here.
time.
crazy, man.
I don't want to talk about stuff from 3 months ago, let alone
Yeah.
5 years ago.
And then I'm Aaron of Game Grumps and Ego Raptor cartoons, Once Upon a Time, and Starbomb. Yay!
Yay!
Yay.
Now voice actor in many Cartoon Network
Yeah,
shows.
yeah. I was just cutting together my demo today. It was pretty fun.
Nice.
Yeah, I had like enough credits officially where I could cut together like a video demo, and it's all stuff that's been on TV.
But what do all of
Sweet.
these weirdos
Thanks.
have in common?
We all play Overwatch.
Yeah.
Obsessively.
Well, real
Yes.
quick, I just wanted to say that this is G Club. It's like our new podcast thing
Okay.
that we're trying out, and we're gonna see how that goes. And it's not just the 4 of us, and it's not just about games. It's just a place for us to talk about probably pop culture.
Barry, could you go really in depth about why it's called the G Club?
No, I don't remember why we came up with G Club. We had a lot of names for
'Cause
this.
It's like the D Club and
Oh, wait, is that it?
Yeah, that was trying.
Oh.
That was. I was
That's
trying
kind
to
of a
set that
bummer.
up for you.
It's kind of disappointing. I thought we were more clever than that.
Just Google the D Club.
G-
Don't
G
make
rhymes
us
like D.
explain it.
Yeah,
G right.
we got a sweet logo though. But if this is audio only, then I don't know if anyone will ever see it.
Yeah.
Didn't Arthur make it?
The
Wait,
logo?
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
Laser Horse.
yeah, sweet.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, Overwatch. I just want to get that out of the way.
Yeah.
So we all play Overwatch. It's been out for over a year, and we've all been playing it for over a year,
Uh huh.
and we like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I wanted to talk about it.
Mm.
Okay. What do you want to talk about?
Just like it's a good game, right?
Yep.
But could it be better?
Could it be
It
better?
could be better.
I mean, they're constantly making it better.
Well, that's the thing. I want to talk about I wanted to kind of get into how you feel about the way Blizzard balances the game, the sort of superficial stuff like cosmetics and loot boxes, because that's been kind of a controversy. There's a lot to
What's
there's a lot
the
to get to.
controversy?
People are upset about the drop rates in the loot boxes, especially in light of the most recent event, the anniversary event,
There's
because
way too many items.
it was
Yeah.
double the cost in credits to buy everything, and all the skins were legendary. And thanks to China, we know the percentage drop rate of the loot boxes.
Wait, why is it thanks to China?
Because China passed a law that it's like an anti-gambling law that I don't know if it's any gambling thing at all or anything that's online, but they have to basically release the odds to the public.
I mean, it is gambling because it's whatever
It is
odds. It's random odds of what you're going to get. So they have to disclose what the odds are of you winning and the house winning.
It's
only-
gambling where you can't come out on top.
No.
Well, because you're not winning anything in real money, but
It's not like you're going to get
Gambling's-
4 legendaries in one
Gambling
box.
means you put something out and there's a chance that you'll lose it for a
Right.
chance of gaining.
It's paying money for a random chance. That's what
Right.
it
but
is.
when you
That's
buy
gambling.
loot boxes, you buy them knowing you're not getting anything real. It's all cosmetic
But it's
stuff
not.
in the
It's
game.
not 100%
still
gambling
gambling.
because you can still just get loot boxes by playing.
Right. That's the idea.
I mean, maybe you're trading your time, but it's not like you're explicitly doing that for loot boxes. You're just playing the game.
Regardless, there was some sort of law in China that was like, you have to put out the statistics. So they're like, okay.
So what are the odds?
I don't know offhand, but the legendaries are really rare. I mean, the idea is, I think, 1 in 15 you're likely to get a legendary.
That
Well,
was
so
it, yeah.
Here's the
Something
thing.
like
I
that.
was trying to clean out all of my event skins and so I was trying to get all the event items because I'd never done that before, and I was like, I'm gonna get all these because there's so many and people are gonna be so pissed when the event's over. So I tried to buy them all. I didn't have enough gold, and I eventually got everything except for one item that was 450 gold pieces or whatever. The fuck
Credits
they're
or
called,
whatever,
credits. And I was like, okay, well, I don't have enough to pay for this one. I only had like 100. So I was like, I'm going to spend like $10 on loot boxes, and then like maybe there's a chance I'll get it. And then also, I'm sure I'll get enough credits. I did not get enough credits to pay 450 for a dance emote.
Mm-hmm.
So if
It's
that tells you
$7.50
anything
for
about how
dance emotes,
pathetic
by
it
the way.
is.
Yeah, it's actually
It's
$7.50 for
actually
a dance.
$7.50 for
Oh, well,
dance.
there you go.
Yeah.
I spent $50 getting the Cruiser Diva skin, and it's really tough when there's like maybe 1 or 2 things that you want in the event, and I'm a Diva main, and I needed that skin, and I just continually wouldn't get it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I didn't even get it in the drops. I ended up having to keep buying loot boxes until I could get 3,000 coins for it.
Right.
Yeah, on Kitty Cat Gaming, with each Overwatch event, I will buy 100 boxes and open them in a video, just to kind of show what you can get and what the odds are, and it's really fun. And I did one for the most recent event, and I only got like 3 legendaries out of the entire thing.
Right.
Like all I got was just the player icons, and then I got like I think 20,000 gold. Which I was going by character through the entire hero gallery to buy everything that I didn't get, and I got to Genji, which is like 4 characters in.
Wow.
So I have a list on my computer of everything that I'm still missing, but I'll make up for it in free XP weekend,
That's
double
true.
XP weekend,
When we're recording this, it's
which
about to be
I am
the-
actually very unhappy about.
Really? The free
Yeah.
XP or a double XP weekend?
Double XP weekend, I feel like, is a very bad idea for Overwatch.
Why do you say that?
What?
Okay, so for the way it stands right now, if you guys aren't really too familiar, the more you play, you get more XP on your account. So say you're a big player, you're gonna have over 100 points. So I mean, you're gonna have a star on your
Right.
on your
every
portrait. is
every
what they call
100
it.
levels that you get a star on your little.
And then
thing.
once you get to level 600, you get a silver portrait. And then once you get to level like 1200, I think you get a gold one. And so the more you have, people expect you to be, let's be frank, a better player. So free XP weekend, double XP weekend, I don't know why I keep saying free. It's setting up this expectation that it used to be that if you had more stars, you were a better player. But now anybody can get double the XP for half the time. So I feel like it just throws a wrench in that entire thing. Like, why even have those stars on the portraits anymore now?
Well,
mean,
to
I
be
think it's-
fair, having a lot of stars doesn't mean you're good.
Yeah,
It doesn't.
I think it's cosmetic
But
anyway.
I mean, why even have it there anyways? I feel like that was a tool that would work for a free-to-play game. And I'm wondering if Overwatch was meant to be a free-to-play game where you just buy loot boxes like Heroes of the Storm and they just happen to ask people to pay for it. And if the future of Overwatch is that it's going to be a free-to-play game. Like, I would not be surprised within the next year if they offered Overwatch completely for free and then they only made their money from updates and loot boxes.
I don't think they're going to do that.
I wouldn't be surprised if they did that.
If they did that, then they would probably give you the amount of money that you spent for Overwatch back in loot boxes.
I mean,
Do you
yeah,
think they would do that?
there's things. So I think
they would, yeah.
I think Battleborn is going free to play, or some.
Because nobody's playing it.
Well, yeah, because it came out at the same time as Overwatch, and it was a
Yeah.
bad idea. And I think that if you already own the game, you get like this founder thing next to your name, and they give you tons and tons of shit. So if they did do that, I'm sure they'd do something
I
similar.
mean, but you already got something like that because when I bought Overwatch, I got the what's it
the
called?
Origins
I got
edition?
the Origins edition, so I got the special skins that you didn't get otherwise.
Well, the thing that's
So-
different with Overwatch, because a lot of free-to-play games are either heavily monetized or they're a MOBA where they have tons and tons of characters that you have to purchase individually, like League of Legends or something. And Overwatch, they've made very, very clear that the whole kind of thing with Overwatch is changing heroes. As much as people like having mains and like getting good with one character, they want people to bounce around heroes mid-game. It's
Yeah.
not like League of Legends or Dota where you pick your character and that's it for the entire game.
I disagree though because I have done that. I am a career.
But that's
one
your choice.
character. Yeah, it's my choice.
But they want people to be able to play lots of heroes, so if they went free to play, and then the worst case scenario where they would lock off certain heroes unless you paid for it, that would kind of break the game a little bit.
No, it'd just be free to play, and you just pay for loot boxes.
I mean, it's definitely would not be for players who want to do comp.
Because then you're just
That's
paying
for
for the
sure.
game if you're paying for actual parts of the game. You know, because
Right.
free-to-play games are like you can play them, but usually you have to pay to speed something up or to like upgrade your shit or whatever. Like you can still play the game as it is
So
for free.
if they made the game free to play and it was 100% free, you didn't have to pay for individual heroes or something like that. Everything was loot box. Then that kind of gets back to the more recent loot box controversy. So there's been 2 loot box controversies since the game came out. The first one was during Summer Games. I don't know if you remember that, but the whole idea was with the Summer Games, which is the first event they did.
Oh, you can't buy any. Of this
None
stuff.
of the skins or sprays or whatever, none of them were purchasable with credits. Everything
Right.
was loot box only.
Yeah.
And I ended up spending a lot of money to get that Mercy skin at the
Right,
very end
yeah.
because I was grinding and grinding the entire event trying to get it. I was like, ugh, there was no way to get it besides just getting lots of loot boxes, which incentivizes you to buy them because it's the fastest way to get them. Whereas now, ever since the Halloween event, they made it so you can purchase them with credits, but it's 3 times the normal price.
Yeah.
And that incentivizes you to save your credits and not spend them on the little things that you want. You save them for every event. So whenever they put out a new hero or something, it's like, well, I'm not going to spend my credits on them because there's going to be an event soon. So now the loot box controversy is this whole idea that, well, people like us, for example, they've been spending a lot of money on loot boxes. We haven't just been
Right.
playing the game, we've been buying loot boxes as
Right.
well. We get duplicates in every single box.
Oh,
And in future events, so they've already said that the Summer Games event is going to have last year's skins and stuff in it. We're going to be getting duplicates of that stuff too in those loot boxes. So over time, it's going to get harder and harder to get new stuff when you're buying loot boxes, when you're just getting loot boxes. So if they moved free to play, they would have to rework the way boxes work entirely.
Why is
Because why in a year's time, why should I buy a single loot box if it's almost guaranteed to be nothing but duplicates?
Well, that's
Even if it's locked to like the event loot boxes always have one event item in them, but it could be a duplicate.
Well, that's true, but also they've probably made more money than they would have if they just sold the game off of loot
Oh,
boxes over
100%.
the year. You know,
oh yeah.
Yeah,
like if
definitely.
they want to keep making ongoing money, sure, but
I mean, I've bought over 500 loot boxes
Yeah.
at this point.
But,
Right.
but also, who's to say the psychology of because I'm looking at this from I mean, you guys are arguing from a consumer's perspective, but I just keep thinking it from Blizzard's perspective of like it's genius. It's the perfect Skinner box, you know.
I mean, yeah,
like-
if they wanted to
is.
just make money, they would have left it the way it was at the Summer Games, where you had to actually get each item out of a loot box. If they were just concerned about money, they would do it that way. But the fact that they were actually listening to everyone who plays the game and made it so you can buy the items shows that they actually do care, because they are sacrificing profits over making people happy.
Plus, I
Right.
don't really have a whole lot of sympathy for the arguments because it's all cosmetic. Like it doesn't make a difference.
It is all cosmetic.
It does sometimes, though.
I mean, I've heard there's, it's just
certain
it's easier
hats
to
make it
see
harder for
characters.
headshots, things
sure,
like that.
yeah.
I mean, if you're
Well, the
really into
hitboxes don't
competitive
change,
shit,
but like
yeah.
looking at them, I think
It is only cosmetic, but at the same time, every event. I mean, I don't have access to Blizzard's numbers, but I'm sure there's a huge player spike every time there's an event.
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Oh, whenever
And-
we're playing, because we play almost every night anyways.
Right.
But when there's an event going on, everybody comes back because they want to see the new character and the new skins. So you have an influx of angry players.
It's toxic
Oh,
players.
buddy,
Bad players.
The last 3 weeks have just been.
And they're here for the event.
impossible.
Once the event's over, they'll go away and it'll just be the hardcore players again. It'll be a lot easier.
You know what's interesting too is like and maybe this is true of other games too, is I've noticed more toxic players among like so whenever we queue with somebody who's inexperienced, like the other night we were queuing with Ross and he was like level 50 or
Way to
whatever.
throw
'cause
Ross under the bus.
well,
He hasn't played since the game came out.
yeah, he hasn't played in a while.
So he recently got back on with us and he was like level 50 something or whatever. So we were queuing with a lot of like 1 stars and no star players, and they were like way more toxic.
Yes.
It's like you guys have no idea. Like we're like all ranked plat and we're like fucking
Diamond.
yeah, plat and diamond, and we're
I'm silver.
and we're
Sorry,
like playing
guys.
Boo!
these
Get
a
outta
lot
here.
higher level
Get good
matches,
scrub.
and meanwhile these dudes who are like, you fucking, and it's like, oh, okay. All right.
Yeah,
To be fair, they might have also been Smurfs, though. I don't know.
I don't think they were smart.
I mean, I'm seeing more and more Smurf accounts these days, though.
Dude, same.
Yeah.
Smurfs don't.
I don't even look at stars anymore because, like, people Smurf so often they don't even matter.
Yeah, well, that's
That
true.
contradicts what you said earlier, Susie, about more
I know,
stars
but
being
I'm
bad.
saying why don't they have that even as a thing anymore, though, if they're going to be doing double XP? Because the whole purpose of it was to show that you play the game a lot. But if they're giving away double XP, then what's the point?
But it doesn't. I mean, it could mean so many different things. Like if somebody played for hours and hours and they're fucking gold border, right? They could have like spaced it out among all the heroes, and so they're like only kind of good with everybody. You know, like it's not.
I don't
It's
know.
still not an indication, regardless.
I don't know.
I think looking at someone's competitive rank is the
their
best way to,
SRs maybe
Yeah.
the best.
It's purely cosmetic.
because they could be level 30 and still be Grandmaster.
But that could also mean that they're a Smurf and they're on
Well,
their second
could.
account. Almost everyone I know has 2 Overwatch accounts. They have
Really?
a Smurf account and they have their real account.
I don't have a Smurf account.
Well,
I'm not gonna get loot boxes on an account that's not mine.
yeah.
Not my main.
Well, it's just fun to like pound people.
I only understand it in the sense that
Hey, all right.
I only understand it in the sense that if you are super high level and your MMR is crazy high, and you have a friend who's new to the game, the best way to introduce them to the game is to create a Smurf.
Yeah.
That
That's
is
true.
by far the best way, and I understand that.
And plus, you can't queue in competitive if you're 1,000 SR.
Let's
Right.
get into competitive because this leads into a conversation I had about competitive.
Mm-hmm.
So when you go into competitive Overwatch, it's different than quick play. It's ranked. So every time you win a match, you get SR, which is season rank points, and you level up. So the higher you get, you can be gold, diamond, grandmaster, master, the whole list. Oh shit, where was I going? Okay, so once you go up to those points,
Well, the whole idea is that you play competitive to be the highest rank you can. It's competitive.
oh yeah.
Quick play is just sort of like, I'm playing for fun, and if I win, it's whatever. If I lose, whatever. It's just XP.
But okay, so
Competitive
there's
is like how good you are.
yes, but there are people who so every time you play competitive, there's been 5 seasons now. We're on the 5th season. When you start a new competitive season, you have to go through the ranking process all over again, and you have to play 10 placement matches to find out which rank it places you at. But it turns out that those placement matches really do jack shit. Because no matter what you do, it's going to place you a little bit below where you were the previous season. And a lot of the reason my friends that I talk to have multiple accounts is because they have it in their head that if they make a second account and do placements, then they'll know their real placement. Because they feel like, what's the point of even doing it on my
'Cause I
main
think
account
it
because
does
it's just
take-
going on my old score and doesn't even give me the chance to improve and show how much I've improved.
But it does factor in where you are in general, though, because when you do placements, you're still being ranked with people that were equal to where you were in the last season. Like, they're not ranking you with people that, like, A, have never ranked, or B, are in bronze, or, like, if you were platinum last year. Like, they still want to rank you with people that are generally where you are. So if you're smurfing and you don't have any history, then it's all over the place. So there really is no way to indicate what level you're truly at if you're fighting people that are just fucking all over the map.
Yeah.
Because that was the problem with season 1, if I remember correctly. Everyone was, I don't even know if they did placements in season 1, but it just sort of put everyone around 50, because back then it was only 0 to 100.
Yeah.
Everyone was around 50, and you just sort of slid up and down from there.
Yeah.
And it was just increments that would push you like one higher.
Yeah.
And it didn't feel good, and they totally remade
I
it.
really like the new SR system, but I do think that it's unfair to certain.
Well, so the
character
problem with that
names.
old system where they sort of start everyone in the middle and then they just sort of spread out from there was it made everyone effectively gold or platinum. And there were just outliers who were really far on the extremes. And they want it to be kind of even throughout all the ranks. So over time, by sort of factoring your last season performance, they're sort of able to kind of define those different chunks of the bracket and say like, okay, these are like bronze players doing placements against bronze players. These are grandmaster players doing placements against grandmaster. And yeah, they could be better or worse than they were at the beginning of last season. But I think it's also why the first couple of games in the season give you and you gain and lose a lot more SR
Yes.
early in the
I
season.
think you gain and lose less actually.
You lose less than you gain more. So they're trying to push you up
directly
higher.
after you finish your 10 placements, you can go up a ton
Yeah.
with
Right.
the following 10 games.
So it doesn't matter if you're placed a little bit below where you ended, because if you're winning, then it's just going to push you right back up there.
Yeah.
So it kind of balances out. But if you didn't deserve to be at that rank, if someone boosted you, if you were playing with a pro team,
No,
and
well,
they were,
for example,
Well, who's to say you're not doing that in the matches afterwards?
you could be.
for example,
But they can't, do anything about that.
Yeah.
I'm a healer main.
Mm-hmm.
We know notoriously healers get shafted with SR. I
Yes.
did my placements with all of you. Maybe you weren't there, but all of you for season 4, and everybody got placed platinum. I got placed silver, even though I was doing the same match as everyone else, won the same games,
Yeah.
and it was
Choice
because
reses.
I was doing great reses, but it was because I was healing and I wasn't killing people. And because of that, I had a fucking hard ass climb from silver all the way to diamond, and I feel like I was dropped for no reason to a
So,
lower level.
Do you think it would be better if there was more transparency? Do you think that's the answer?
There can't be though.
Why not?
Because
then
people
it'll
would
be
take advantage of
exploited.
it. Yeah. But I do think that there should be something done in place so that everybody gets the same level of HP. I mean, SR, because it's not fair for healers to be busting their ass doing the role that most people, to be frank, don't even want to be healer.
Oh yeah, everyone locks in DPS.
Yeah, nobody really wants to be healer, so they're already punished, and then to punish them even more by saying you don't even get as much SR as everybody else on your team, that really de-incentivizes people to want to actually be healers.
I think it's hard, especially because a game like Overwatch, it's also kind of the problem with the medal system, where whenever you bring up the score screen in Overwatch, there's stats for like the amounts of kill assists that you've done, the amount of healing you've done, etc. And based on how you perform within your team, it gives you a gold medal if you're the best at that, or silver or bronze. And the problem is it doesn't reflect how well you're doing.
Yeah, it's sort of it allows people to say like, "Hey, I won my lane. Why weren't you guys trying hard enough?"
Right. Whereas
And that's the wrong way to use it.
like you might just be, shooting at people but not killing anyone, and then you're feeding their healers, and someone else is finishing those kills. Like there's a lot of ways you could have
Yeah,
gold
absolutely.
damage,
It's
but
the
actually
same,
be doing worse than someone else.
It's the same sentiment as in like League of Legends of like what a salty player will say is like, "I won my lane. Like I did my AD carry work. Where were you guys?" And it's just like, I think it just breeds toxicity, right?
Mhm.
Like
It's an excuse.
Yeah. Well, I mean that's partly why medals are because any salty player that gets gold, they're like, "Well, I got gold. What did you guys do?" And it's like, "Yeah, well, you got gold. What does that mean? We still lost." You know, like it's a team game.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I
Did
hear
you
the most
win because
in
you got gold?
in radio chat. Like that's the most frustrating thing to hear of like when you lose the first point and you guys start arguing over medals. It's like that
It's like, I'm a tank. Why do I have gold damage? It's like there's a million things. So that's why I brought it up in the context of like healers trying to gain SR or whatever it is that there's so many variables besides just the raw numbers. Things like positioning that better players will have over crappy players. They can't track that. They can't say you have better positioning than another player.
Well, that's
you
all
got
in the meta,
unlucky.
right?
What was that?
That's all in the meta, right?
Well, yeah, it's a lot of it's the meta, but
Well, it's because it's kills aren't important, It's like obviously they are, but
It's not a
my
deathmatch
point
game.
is that it's about moving the payload,
or whatever the objective is.
so there's a lot of things that sort of either run counter to making kills, or like he was saying, it was a perfect example of like, yeah, maybe you're doing a lot of damage, but you are feeding healers, like for example, like when I play DPS, and if I'm alone and I'm waiting for the team to come, and they're like waiting for me to group up, and I'm ahead, and I can see the group up there, but they can't kill me because they're so far away. But like I'm a Pharah, and I'll shoot rockets and I'll get damage. That builds my ult. But if I already have ult and I'm shooting rockets, I'm not going to kill anybody. I'm just doing random damage, and because I'm doing random damage, all the healers are getting their ult. So I'm actually not helping our team by doing all that splash damage when nobody's there for no reason.
But you probably have gold damage because you're doing
exactly.
I can tell you, that's my favorite thing as a healer. When we're standing at the choke and we're waiting for them to come in and they're just doing petty shots at you guys, and I'm fucking healing and soaking up all of that. I love that.
When I'm a
shit.
tank, I'll just like get shot a little bit and then back up and let you heal.
Yeah.
Because gotta get that res up.
All they're doing is hurting themselves. They're doing that. If you're at a choke, you just go.
But it's partially why, and I think people take it for granted, but it's partially why the play of the game system is so impressive, because that's literally the game saying like, this is the most important play that happened. And a lot of the times it's not. Obviously it's not perfect, but
Dead Torb next to his turret.
yeah, there are
That doesn't
plays,
really happen anymore.
There are plays.
I've seen it.
There have been so many plays now where it's like, people will watch and be like, what the hell was the point of that? It was just a 2-man res. Or like, oh, what was it? He killed 2 people or whatever. But it's like, no, those 2 people, and then we won the point because of that. Like, it didn't look impressive, but like it was impressive because that's what helped us win. So it's really impressive to me that the game can read that, and it seems, just looking at that and how complicated that algorithm must be, that's got to be what goes into how you get SR, to judging those
like
moments.
fire points.
Yeah.
Things that are contributing.
Yeah.
Could be. I just think
Because everyone wants to quantify it by the stuff that's presented to them, right? But there's probably a lot that's going on in the game that's being quantified that we don't know about.
Oh yeah, I'm sure that they tweak how SR works and placement works every season. That's why they do season resets, but
I was told there were no changes between this season and last season's SR.
okay. Well, even if that's the case, they've done changes in the past to, because before it was way worse for healers. They made it a lot better for healers. It's still not great.
It's still not great.
But it's a lot better than it used to be.
It's still questionable. Like, for example, we had a friend who won 8 of his placements, lost 2, still fell 300 SR below where he had left off last season, even though he won majority of his placements. That makes no sense.
The game doesn't. That's why I was saying like transparency maybe. And yes, it could be gamed, so I understand why maybe that's not the right idea. But even the game giving you like a slight peek behind the curtain, and just to give you a sense of like, okay, so if SR is comparing you to other people playing the same hero. So if you're like a really good Sombra, you'll be at the fucking Grandmaster level because no one else is playing Sombra.
I mean, yeah, that's the rumor that's out there right now. Yeah.
So if that is how it works, they could give you like, hey, here's like the average. I mean, you can find that on other websites that track that stuff, like Overbuff. Well, like if you log in, it'll tell you like you're in the 11th percentile of healers. Like it gives you that information that Blizzard doesn't. But if that's why you're going up or down, that might be useful to know. Of like, hey, like these people are doing other things that you could improve on. Not as like, oh, you suck, but here's how you can improve.
Yes.
But I think part of that is that they just don't want to train people. They don't want to teach people like that.
Well, also, again, that goes back to players would exploit it. I mean, even when we did have that little information about the Sombra thing, and that guy came out and was like, I'm a fucking Grandmaster Sombra, and it happened really fast. It's like people started playing a lot more Sombra because they wanted to game the system. It's like they don't play Sombra, but...
Also, let's be frank, there's a lot of money on the table for competitive games, especially in other countries. So
in like the professional scene?
Yeah, so it's very exploitable for them. And that becomes a liability for Blizzard then, because they can get caught up in these high-profile lawsuits dealing with cheating.
Is that cheating, though?
If they make an exploit known, yes.
Well, these aren't in-game exploits. These are like kind of meta exploits.
Yeah, but if they were to be open about what would change, like, for example, like if they had come out and officially said, like, yes, if you play lesser played characters like Sombra and Orisa and Comp, you will automatically, most likely, if you play it competently, we will go to Grandmaster or Master. People would start doing that.
Right, and then it would stop working.
Time. Yeah. But
Because
like
if there were tons of people playing one hero, then it's going to be harder to climb the ranks with that hero, in theory.
Exactly, yeah. But that would also kind of break competitive for that season or whatever, because nobody would be taking it seriously. That would change the meta completely. I mean, I feel like it's almost better for us not to know at all about how SR works, but I'm just saying that there are problems with it that I wish they would have taken.
Well, that's how I see it. It's like it should just be play well.
Yeah.
And then it'll reflect in your SR.
Just win.
Well, it feels like the argument is like it's not necessarily like wanting to know everything about SR, but feeling that some characters, be it support mains, are treated unfairly under the SR system as it exists now.
I have a 51% win rate in comp, and I'm diamond. So partially it is play well as far as I'm concerned.
When I play 99% of my comp games with you guys, and I won 7 placements, lost 3, and was placed low diamond, which was higher than anyone else in our group.
Yeah.
Well,
And I don't know why. I would not say I'm better than any of you guys.
Here's what
I
I'm
don't know why it
curious
happens.
about. What's the difference between competitive play where I'm at in silver as to where you guys are at?
Okay.
What do you mean?
Like
the
how
difference,
the players are different?
The
Yeah.
difference in players when you're in silver than comparing
Because
to
I'm having a
play-
terrible time in silver.
I've
I'm
played
solo
there. I've
queuing
been
in
there.
silver, and it is like I can't believe I get home from a hard day's work and it's like, let's just have kids yell at me. I can't like I'm
Those are players that don't get a lot of nuances about what's appropriate to do.
They are salty because they think they deserve to be better.
Yeah.
So
right. Yeah,
they
I've seen
are
a lot of like
more
3 and 4
angry.
star players in silver, and oftentimes those are the people who will throw matches when the comp isn't to their liking.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, if they're silver, I mean, this is gonna come off as like really shitty. But if you're below platinum, usually
Ooh.
they don't give a fuck about like playing it like competitively.
Well,
I'm
even
doing air
gold,
quotes.
even gold players, they care. Well, some of them do.
Well, because when you guys play, you guys normally group up, right?
We
Yeah,
usually
we're
do 6
very
man per
serious
comp.
about it.
We take it pretty
Usually
seriously.
5 or 6 man stack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we
Solo queue is rough, dude.
we usually
Buddy,
have
yeah,
our, like,
I need
characters
to
stick to.
make more less good friends.
But yeah, I feel like they don't take it as seriously.
If you're listening
so
to this,
they're-
hit me up. I'm trying
They're
to
more
6
quick
stack.
to drop
Yeah.
or to not be willing to work with the team. They're not willing to change for the team. They're not willing to join voice chat. All things that you need to do to win games.
Oh man, I would love it if they didn't join voice chat.
Yeah.
Because
The people who ask you to join voice chat are usually
Well, that's not.
it's like I'm not
look.
a stranger.
I, as a girl,
Sure.
playing,
Right,
I
yeah,
have different
sure.
experiences than you
In
guys
higher
do.
levels, you need to be on voice chat.
Yeah.
It's so crucial.
I'm just
but if
I'm
people
no
are just
stranger
toxic,
to toxic gameplay, but this is like painful in silver.
I
Yeah.
mean, there's gonna be
Especially
toxic
Silver Solo.
players in every single.
We've played with
category.
people that were toxic after we won.
That's the
Yeah.
mysterious part. That's the ones
Yeah,
that always get me. How are you salty after we win?
Right.
Because there's nothing better. I think the only thing that can beat a sore loser is a sore winner.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
A sore winner is like, I can't wrap my head around it. Like I will admit that I have a tilting problem. I tilt way too easily with this game,
Right.
especially against Maze. Maze will just set me over.
Wait, who's your main?
So
He's a tank man.
I'm mostly a tank main. In
Okay.
quick play, I have the most hours on Diva, but that's because I only played Diva and Mercy when the game came out.
Yeah.
And comp, last season I was a Roadhog main, full stop, because
Mm-hmm.
he just destroys people with his hook. And now that he's getting nerfed, I'll probably play him less. I've been playing more Winston and also more Diva. But
Yeah.
basically, I play a lot of tanks.
But you tilt easy.
I tilt easy because I'm used to. I've gotten very comfortable with the Roadhog playstyle where you're able to flank by yourself and kill people and heal up, and he has so much sustain. So when I play like a Winston and I'm fighting people, and then like out of my peripheral vision, Mei walks in, freezes me before I have a chance to escape. I'm just like, great. I feel great about that.
Oh, absolutely. It's I think it's even worse with Diva because like you're super mobile. Like,
You're super mobile, but
just-
your hitbox is like half your fucking model.
yeah, exactly.
Your crit
So,
box.
in competitive, I usually start off with Mei, but I usually start off with Diva, but if I see a Mei on the opposing team, I immediately switch off because there's just nothing I can do about it.
It's just brutal. I don't know. I keep seeing them making changes to other heroes to make them feel better, to help them have better plays with other players, whatever. I mean, I feel like everything about Mei is designed to be not fun to go up against. and the only way to win against Mei is to be nowhere near her.
Yeah,
It's-
unless you're a
it's-
Pharah.
Well, the only way to win against Mei is to have somebody with you.
Right.
Well, to make you feel better, nobody really plays Mei anymore.
I see her.
May's pretty big in silver comp, at least.
I
From what I
hardly
can
see her
tell.
anymore. The only time she's coming up more in defense now
Yeah.
on capture the point, and that's it.
Right.
I never see her in payload push or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
So
That makes sense.
It was actually something that I wanted to mention for a very long time, and this is super granular, but it's kind of like the same thing as my frustrations about the medal system, is that I feel like it's kind of geared for newer players, and then more experienced players just sort of like take it for granted. I'm not a big fan of the hero select screen. I'm not a big fan of the way they're categorized.
really?
Oh, yeah.
Oh
Yeah, so obfuscated.
yeah, because you know
The
Symmetra
four-
isn't a support,
Right,
Like, stuff
and
like
and
that.
and the way it'll give you like too many snipers, no builders, like they give you those tips there, which I think you can probably turn
I don't
off.
pay attention to those anymore.
But I feel like
They're there for like very beginning
Yeah.
of the
But
game.
I solo queue a lot of quick play, and even in quick play, people can take it very, very seriously, and they'll get really upset if you're not like ticking off all of those boxes.
What?
Yeah,
well, they've never.
That's a very antiquated
Heard
thing
of
because it's like
metas.
that's there from the beginning. That's like them being like, "Hey, we're just nudging you in the right direction, you guys."
right.
But now, sort of everybody who's at the level that we're at knows what kind of comp to make. So
Here's
Well,
a
it's
joke.
like- it's
Here's
like-
I mean, you've seen this. We'll play all support team. Well, we will do 6 support characters with. I mean, there's only 5 supports, so we'll do either Torb or Soldier because they both have kind of a healing ability. We more often than not win.
Right.
Yeah, we'll win
All
with that comp.
support.
Yeah, support has crazy sustain.
So you can say that you could just ignore that and be fine.
Well, I guess that's my problem is that people get really obsessed with what the meta is.
Yeah.
And I feel like it kind of restricts people, and I think that the hero select screen also kind of restricts people's picks.
Yeah, well, that's
Okay.
interesting. Just that because they say they want people to like change characters often and like be mindful of the comp and
The
stuff.
only place that you can see them categorized by tank and support and DPS and offense, the only place you can see that is on that hero select screen. You don't see that anywhere else in the game.
Right.
By the way.
That's
So if you wanted to like go to the hero gallery, it does not list
their
them as
alphabetical
those
order
things. Yeah.
in the hero gallery.
So maybe they're thinking about getting rid of
And
that.
like when people I see when people are like theorizing about new heroes and stuff, they're like, oh well, we haven't gotten a new defense hero yet, so we need a new defense hero. It's like, well, defense is just kind of another way of saying DPS.
Yeah.
They're saying they're DPS that are good at crowd control, except Hanzo and Widow don't really have crowd control, but the rest do, and so that's it's I feel like it's misleading because it's getting people to think like, oh, we can't have a Junkrat because we're on attack.
Yeah.
It's like, well, Junkrat can be a beast on attack if it's the right map and the right
Yeah, it goes
situation.
back to like
You're the right
the
Junkrat.
early discourse about like attack Symmetra.
Yeah, exactly.
Holy shit though.
Yeah.
Symmetra though.
Oh, yeah. Generally, like if I see someone like auto pick to Symmetra, I just trust that we're gonna have a good time. If someone's
have some fun
that
today.
adamant about being Symmetra, they probably are a very good Symmetra.
I think it's the death that makes me the most giddy when I walk around a corner and just take a meatball in the face.
Oh yeah.
I'm just like, all right, I walked into
God,
that.
I love Symmetra.
Yeah.
She's so cool.
So I kind of wanted to shift gears a little bit, and I was curious what you guys thought about the current game modes that are in the game and the maps that are in the
I
game.
don't give a fuck.
You want to give a fuck? You want to talk about something else?
I just play comp.
Oh. Well, I mean, like I'm talking about like escorts, assault, capture, like
Oh,
Like-
I mean, 2CP sucks.
right. I think that's fair to say.
Yeah.
They did make Eichenwald better by adding that little
The little
passageway.
door on the
I
side.
think
Yeah.
that makes it more playable.
Well, so that's I forgot
Yeah, I
what they
can
call it, but that's like a hybrid.
really just like really choked up.
Capture payload.
Yeah.
yeah,
I do wish
that's not 2CP, but yeah, that's
I
a good
wish there
point.
were more what's it called? Spawns.
That's
What do you
Whenever
mean?
when there's payload maps and there's like not enough spawns, like you have a long walk. I know that like
on defense.
yeah, I wish they would
Yeah.
rather just keep you dead for longer and less walk.
Oh, that's interesting.
Personally, that's something that
Doesn't
I
that
would
just
like
kind
to
of
see.
balance out at the same time?
Yeah, but then you're not, anxious, waiting, and knowing you have to.
Oh.
You're walking and you're walking like you're jumping as you're walking because you're like I gotta
Yeah,
get there as
there's
fast
nothing
as
more
possible.
frustrating than being a Mercy and then just seeing the health tickers of all of your friends
Yeah.
just like disappear.
Because when I'm dead, I'm not rewatching how I died. I'm watching how my team is playing.
Right.
And
so
if
if it
I
was a
had-
longer spawn, that would give you more time to see what your team is doing and
And-
the same time to get back.
And
But-
yeah, and a less amount of time to walk you back.
Some heroes move faster than others.
That's true.
That's true.
That adds to. I mean, the more that you give people sort of an equal amount of wait time versus a time that they could be maneuvering or setting something up, is a major difference in how the map is
But if
played.
people were dead a little bit longer, I think that would help too.
The one thing that I don't mind about the long walk is if I'm playing someone like Lucio, it kind of forces it lets me become like the team conductor.
Yeah.
Because the big problem in this game is trickling in.
Oh, absolutely.
Yes.
People will just walk single file into the slaughter, and then the other team just always
The
has an
trickle
advantage.
is real.
But when you're Lucio, I can just like hang out outside of our spawn, wait for everyone to die, respawn, and then boost us all in.
Yes.
And even if people are walking past me, I can help people get caught up
Yes.
and get to that fight faster. So that's one reason why I like the current system. And also being dead isn't fun,
No.
you know, but it does give you more information about your team if you're watching what
Yes,
people are doing.
I am always watching my team.
Yeah.
'Cause I feel like that's also important for higher level play too,
Mhm.
is to have a team that you play with regularly and gel with.
Right.
I mean, it's typical that right? That's not news to anybody.
Mm-hmm. Do you think that the game needs a new game mode for like quick play and competitive that's different than like capture point
I would
or,
love
or
to see that.
payload?
I would love to see that.
Just anything different.
I would like to see some kind of, maybe not capture the point, but almost like capture the flag, but almost football style.
So there's like
how far you can get it.
Like say there's a duck and you have to run and grab the duck, and then whoever has the
Just
duck
the
is in
duck.
control of the game. And you're trying to
Capture-
tackle the
capture
person
duck.
with the duck.
mhm.
Dear
Yeah,
Blizzard.
so that's
Dear Jeff Kaplan,
I forget
I
what they
have,
call
and
that.
you can contact me
like
here.
Mario Kart has that. Where you
Patent
have to-
pending.
You get the shine, and then it's a
How
every
cool.
character has a counter, and then
Doesn't
it counts down
Halo-
from the counter.
Halo has like the skull mode. I'm blanking
Hear
what
me
it's
out.
called.
What
Yeah.
if
Where like one person is
It's
it.
like hot potato.
Kind of, yeah.
What if Overwatch had items? What if there was
Oh,
a mode
Jesus.
where
They have
there
items. They're called abilities.
No, but what if there were like, like-
Pickups.
yeah.
Yeah.
How fun would that be?
Like some Doom style like quad damage.
That would be an
pickups.
amazing gameplay mode.
That's
How
tough, though.
fun.
I
There
feel
are
like
characters that are slower than other characters, so it'd be harder for them to get items over.
But if they
so
spawn
everyone would be
randomly,
Tracer and
but if they spawn randomly,
mhm.
so nobody knows where they're going to spawn, they could
Well,
spawn
maybe-
on you.
Because it's a team game, you're like trying to set up your tracer to get that ability.
yeah.
So you're like, oh shit, the thing's about to spawn.
That would
if
be
it's
a
like,
fun game
If it's
mode.
like Quake style, where like the spawns are always in the same location.
Yeah.
then
Because
it's
it's
like,
luck based, it could never be a competitive thing. But I think that would be another fun new game mode they could do.
it could be neat. So I've had a lot of fun playing in the custom games thing, and I've made a few myself, and like it's really fun to like mess around with it. I would love for them to someday get to that place where you'd be like, oh, I have an idea where there's a duck and you move it around, whatever, and to be able to build that in the game.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That would
fun.
be rad, because what we have right now is neat, and there's a lot you can do with it. And even with the new update, they're adding the ability to like adjust gravity and jump height and all this weird stuff.
Oh, absolutely. Like some of my favorite gaming experiences were like the older Unreal Tournament 2004s, the mods that would come along with that, like the
Mhm.
instant jib
Yeah.
and the like low gravity mode, and
Strange Love.
I don't remember that actually.
You know the Redeemer?
Mm.
It was a gun. It was like a rocket launcher that was remote controlled, and it was like the strongest gun in the game. It was an instant kill.
Mm.
So you would grab it and then you'd shoot it, and then it was like Road or Junkrat. Like you would stand there, but you would be controlling the rocket, and you'd find somebody and it would explode. But Strange Love was a really simple mod where instead of being behind, you were riding the rocket, and then
I get the
you would either
reference.
jump off right before or you would die with it.
Oh man.
Dude,
Yeah,
go,
so-
"Yahoo!"
So I think
It like completely changed, and like I think there was a time. This is the original Unreal Tournament. I think there was a time where like people were playing more maps with the Strangelove mob than with the regular Redeemer.
yeah, like I would love to see something like that in Overwatch that just sort of like allowed creativity, because like you're seeing so many of these video games that like are getting a second life breathed into them with just the modding community and level editing, and if God, man, like the wild things people could come up with Overwatch characters and just sort of free reigns to create levels around them would be amazing.
I mean, when the dance emotes came out with the anniversary update, the server list was full of dance servers.
Really?
People were just dancing, and they were setting up like Symmetra turrets to like create these light shows and stuff. It was like it was a good time,
It's cute.
and it was. I think there's clear demand for more player tools.
Just weird shit.
Yeah,
Yeah,
weird
I would like
shit.
to see Overwatch get weird.
weirder.
I
You
would
already
like
have
to see
space
that.
monkeys and
Yeah.
Well,
cyborgs.
Magic doesn't exist in that universe.
How do you guys feel about the plot and the lore of Overwatch? Do you care?
I don't give
I don't,
two
yeah, I
fucks
don't
about
care.
You don't care at all?
I mean, I like it. I really love when the new animators come out.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for the next one with bated breath. But like, it's just kind of, if you don't play the character, you don't really care about them, and you don't care about their lore. Like, I don't play Winston that much, so I don't really care. But I love Soldier, and anything that's to do with Soldier, I'm like, fuck yes, please deliver to my door.
Right.
So you know what I mean?
Daddy.
No,
Like-
well, I'm right there with you with with Diva. Like,
Yeah.
Diva's like my favorite
Oh, sorry.
character, and I will spend an inordinate amount of money to get her skins, and it's just how it is.
Yeah.
I think the really cool thing about it is sort of the fan community that surrounds it, that sort of like creates comedy around it, and I think that's a lot of fun to just sort of experience. Just seeing Overwatch as this conduit for creativity and for comedy, and seeing how people take that and use it in some good ways, and let's be honest, some bad ways.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The thing that I found really interesting about the place of story in this game is that, you know, I think we all got into it because it's a good game. We enjoy the game. We haven't even really talked about, like, it's the abilities are good and fun, and you get to shoot stuff, and that's great, and there's all types
for
of
as
different
salty
play
as I
styles.
get,
It's not just
it's a good game.
It's not like, you know, Call of Duty or Halo, where it's like the play styles are slight tweaks on each other. Like, you're a sniper or you're more mid-range. Like, it's not that different, whereas a hero shooter is much crazier. But I really liked how, you know, in the first few months of playing this game, we would all just run around and we're shooting stuff, whatever, and then I would find like I see a post on Reddit that's like, oh, no, like on King's Row, you're delivering an EMP to kill a bunch of Omnics.
Yeah, I felt horrible about
And you're
that.
like, what? And then you go on the map and you're like, shit, there's all these like clues everywhere, and there's like things written down, and oh man, the spawn room of we're in a diner, and there's plans for them to blow up the bridge, and it felt like there was all this plot and lore embedded into the game in a way that was just like out of the way.
Yeah.
It's there if you want to find
It's
it.
like a Disney World ride.
Exactly. It felt very just kind of emergent. It just sort of was like in the world, and it was just waiting for you to find it. And I guess the frustrating thing is there just hasn't been a whole lot after that initial push. Like, they've done some animated shorts and some comics and things, but
I feel like more is coming. I feel like that's why they're delaying the release of Doomfist, because that's going to be a huge shift.
I don't know if
in
they
the
ever
story
meant
mode.
for Doomfist to be a playable character at this point.
I
feel like
think I think it always was, because they always had that glove on the payload in
Yeah,
Nubani.
And they
I
always
mean-
had the banner with the silhouette.
I guess
Yeah.
they did have him a silhouette.
I feel like, because like I feel like all of the characters,
Even the
have been in
reveal trailer had
posters.
Doom
Yeah.
Fist.
Right. But they also mentioned Soundquake and Fusionator.
I mean,
Remember those guys?
We're gonna be getting a ton of new characters.
When are we getting Soundquake? I hope he has a
Dude,
cassette player in his
it's just
chest.
it's just like a super buffed Lucio.
Oh my god.
But yeah, I think that once he comes out, Doomfist, I mean, there's gonna be a definite pivot in the storyline. I feel like that's why they're holding off on him, because I thought that he would be coming out before we have this other new stuff, like the new Lunar Ops
Moonbase,
map
yeah.
and the story with Hammond, who might be
Yeah.
a new character.
I guess there's something about the pacing of it all that's very weird.
It is.
Because most of the events are seasonal.
Mm-hmm.
They're not. I mean, they have the Uprising event, which was all kind of lore based.
Yeah.
And then when they put out Orisa, they redid the Nubani spawn and had like Doomfist that destroyed it all. But that's
But-
like months and months in between anything happening environmentally in the game.
Yeah.
And then they add a new map, and it's just sort of like little details.
At
But,
this point, what I really want from Overwatch is new maps.
well, we're getting the new moon map.
I mean, like, I want a bunch of new maps, because like as someone
Payload maps.
who plays it
Yeah.
often, I know all of the maps inside and out, and they're just kind of like, all right, we're doing this one again. Like, it's not as fun. Sure, playing the scenarios is what makes it fun, and the different teams you play against, because it's all about the plays they do. But I just wish that the maps were newer and fresher. It does not feel fresh. So
Do you wish that they put out more maps than did events? Fewer
I
events,
feel like
more
there
maps?
I feel like there should be events and maps happening at the same time.
Like every new event should bring a map.
Because I hear they want to do events pretty often now, right? Because like we've been getting events every month now, it seems.
I think they've said that the events that we got over the past year are just what the events are going to be.
Yeah.
So they were just going to have repeats of those. So they're every like 2 months or so.
Well, I've heard rumors that there's going to do events every month.
That'd be cool.
That would I think exhaust everyone.
But if they were going to be turning this into a free-to-play game, that would be a good way for them to make their money's worth out of it, and that makes more
Yes.
sense.
Bring other
Agreed.
players. I don't mind events. They're fun.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of seems more and more likely that maybe they would be doing events more often, which I'm happy about. But enough of the skins. Give me the new maps.
Mhm.
That's what I want. So
Have you checked out the new 3v3 maps at all?
yeah, and I don't really like 3v3 that much. As a healer main, like I'm at a disadvantage.
I'm a big fan of the new 3v3.
Yeah.
'Cause
Really?
They changed it where before you could just make whatever 3-player comp you could, which meant that every team had a Roadhog, an Ana, and some DPS.
Mhm.
Because that was just the best.
Soldier.
They very, like when it first came out, people were doing all kinds of weird stuff and then they devolved into that. But now the new 3v3 locks out any heroes that you've won with.
Mm-hmm.
So now when you play
Oh, yeah,
3v3,
lockout
you
is
wind
fun.
you wind up with the weirdest comps and it's super fun again.
Yeah, I
And-
do like the lockout. I like that. a
Yeah,
lot.
but you know what? It's just gonna be another wide. It's just gonna be a wider meta.
Maybe,
It's gonna be like this comp, and then when we win with this comp, we're gonna do this comp, and then when we win with this comp, we're gonna do this comp. The end.
that's fair, but there's also an element of counterpicking to it, where like I've noticed having played the new 3v3 that if we win like 2 comps in a row, you see what the other team has played for 2 comps. So like, okay, they're running pharmacy every goddamn chance they get until they win with that, and then they're not going to play it. So it's not just like, oh, we'll pick this comp. It's like we need hit scan to deal with it, and we need like a tank to protect us while we take.
Well, my point is that the other person would be doing the same thing too.
Right. But that's why I don't think it's a clear-cut meta of just like pick Roadhog, pick Ana. Because the other team also has like all of these mini comps they can pick from.
I mean, I guess so. I think the metas would be streamlined though. I mean, you look at normal competitive like tournament competitive, and they're all running the same comp. Give or take 1 or 2 DPS. So it would be the same thing after a certain amount of time for this new 3v3.
I guess you're right.
They'd just be running the same 3 comps, and it wouldn't matter like what order they did it in, because they would all sort of counter each other
all like a rock, paper,
because they'd
scissors
be
thing.
the meta.
Right.
Like it wouldn't even be a rock paper scissors thing.
Mm-hmm. I hope you're wrong.
They would be running
just
the
because
safest comp.
the 3v3s that I've been playing have been so much more dynamic.
Yeah, I mean now, of
Right.
course,
It's still relatively
It's
new.
just like the beginning of the other 3v3,
Right.
where it was interesting and then it was not.
But also, you have situations where, I when I have time, I try to check my teammates' career profiles and just see like what are their mains. And there's times when it's like, oh, he is a Lucio main, and that is all he does. He has 0 seconds on anyone else. So it's like, even if there were metas, it doesn't matter to that player.
Yeah.
He's just sort of gonna do what he does.
I mean, I'm not saying my reality is 100%. I'm just
Yeah.
saying that
That's kind of
the,
how
the
this
fear
game
of a
is
meta
gone.
existing still is going to happen.
That's sort of been the trend of this game, is just meta upon meta upon
Yeah.
meta, and then someone figuring out a counter to the meta, and then
I
that
think that's
becomes
such
the
a bad
meta.
thing. It's a sports game, man.
Yeah.
Like we're playing the sport. Our sports
I
have
guess so.
bullets.
Also, this is the first game that I've really kind of gotten into the esports community about.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
I've watched other esports before, but I never really got into them as much as I've enjoyed watching Overwatch. I don't know why that is exactly. Because even watching like competitive Smash, I get it, but it's
Yeah.
not. It doesn't hit me the same way Overwatch
Because
does.
I've tried watching some competitive Overwatch, and it's a lot is happening.
I think the spectator tools need a lot of work,
Yeah.
but I think they're
Yeah.
aware of that.
Because
They're
like
gonna
when
make it better.
I'm watching like FGC stuff, even when I'm watching like League of Legends stuff, it's really super easy to follow.
And the commentators have years of experience to break it down.
Yeah, Overwatch is just I think Overwatch is just designed at times as like a sensory overload, right?
Anytime there's a team fight with ults, you're just like, okay, stuff's happening.
Well, there's enough going on in Overwatch for it to be interesting,
Yeah.
There's enough variety for like new things to pop up every so often. And
Well, I like it because it's 3D and very visual, so
Yeah.
you can very clearly see where the teams are and how they're moving together and
Yeah.
who's taking the high ground.
with something like Smash, I feel like it's a little more limited.
Well, it's a lot more about technical skill,
Yeah.
like any kind of fighting game.
Yeah.
Whereas Overwatch is more about team play
Yeah.
and using ults and
Yeah. You're never going to talk about. Yeah, exactly. You're never going to watch an Overwatch competition and they're going to talk about like, wow, look at Soldier's aim.
look at his
It's like,
tracking. It's like, of course, he's a
yeah,
pro.
yeah,
he's gonna
a
have good tracking.
soldier.
Yeah, but it becomes all the meta narrative on top of it
Yeah,
that
yeah,
what
yeah.
people talk about. But that's what's fun for me to watch, is like to Overwatch, if
Yeah,
you will,
Exactly.
is seeing these strategies play out.
Yeah. It's like,
Yeah, completely different beast from something like Counter-Strike competitive,
Yes.
right?
Yeah, which again is much more kind of twitchy.
Yeah.
It'd be like watching a speed run versus watching like
There you go.
A let's play.
something get randomly generated and seeing somebody like figure it out as they go.
It's like watching basketball, but the entire time someone's holding a strobe light up to your eye.
It's like Space Jam.
Yeah.
Is what
So
you're
this-
saying.
the-
Overwatch
Overwatch is competitive
Jam
Space
of
Jam.
sports.
Yeah. Thank you.
It's not a bad analogy.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, shit. Do you guys have anything else you want to talk about related to Overwatch?
Overwatch is a good game. I love it.
What's the last game that we all played this much? Was it
Thank
Monster
you,
Hunter?
Blizzard.
Monster Hunter, yeah.
Monster Hunter for sure, or Metal Gear Solid 5.
Which will be the
When we
case
like
once it
together.
comes out on the Switch.
Yeah, that's probably gonna mean a break from. Except Overwatch is gonna put out some crazy bullshit event the second Monster Hunter comes out.
Yeah, that's the Monster Hunter
that is
release.
their MO.
They're really good at that.
Yeah, they are.
It's
good
like,
at
oh
that.
man, Zelda came out. They're like, okay, here's a new hero. Fuck. I want
Yeah.
to play Zelda though.
What was that, Orisa?
Yeah, those are.
That wasn't the most exciting hero.
I mean, any
I like
new
her, but-
characters.
Yeah.
I mean, I played fucking 4 hours of Sombra the day she came out, and
Oh,
then
really?
never again. Yeah.
I still play.
So
I like Orisa a lot, actually.
She's really hard.
she's just
Yeah.
not comp ready.
Yeah. People are finally getting Sombra and like,
Really?
Oh my
The-
god,
I mean,
you're
it's
either
just-
really good at Sombra or you're really bad at Sombra. There's no in between.
Really?
I
Yeah.
mean, no one really understood Anna for like 2 months.
Oh
And
my
they buffed the
God.
crap out of her, and then she created a meta.
became the entire meta.
Right, and they
Yeah.
still
For
hasn't
her.
really recovered. So I think they're really cautious when they introduce new characters about making them OP.
You're recovered.
Have you noticed that every new character so far has been a girl?
Yeah, as a man, I feel like I'm not being represented by the Overwatch characters. Where are the bros at?
Yeah.
The only American, well, not only American, because Soldier's American, right?
Soldier's American, McCree's
McCree is a
American,
goddamn
right?
stereotype, and I'm a-okay with that.
And don't forget that Reaper's American.
No, he's Mexican.
He's Mexican.
He's a LA native.
Oh.
Is he?
Yeah.
Shit.
Oh.
I'm racist. Damn it.
I mean, he's
So
Mexican though. Like his name is
Mexican
fucking
American.
Reyes, and
yeah.
But if
well,
he's an LA native, then he's a Mexican
Yeah.
he's
American.
first generation, fine, but it's still his heritage.
So
also,
so there are plenty
he's
of
maybe
Americans.
made out of ghosts, so
Well,
I'm-
that's
I don't-
something. That's
I'm
something that's
also-
always been interesting to me. It's a little
Yeah.
tidbit.
I'm a
is-
very appreciative of all the cultures that they encompass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's no magic in Overwatch.
yeah.
Everything's done with devices.
Not
or-
even
or
the Mercy
weapons.
Res.
Yeah, the
It's
Mercy
not
Res is like
magic.
her backpack or whatever.
She doesn't
What?
have a backpack. There's no backpack.
Or
It's
her
this-
wings or whatever.
Is it her butt?
There's something about the tech that she has.
Is
Because
it-
I
does
always
she have
imagined the concept of reviving someone from fucking beyond the veil as maybe a magical thing.
Yeah, I wanted to
Well,
see magic,
except
but it's not. Yeah. I
She
hear you.
didn't she have something to do with the way Reaper is now?
Yes, she tried to bring Reaper
And
back,
she
but something
and
got
she
fucked
helped
up.
Genji and she helped Soldier, so she,
Yeah.
that's kind of like her role in the stories is
Yeah.
effectively bring people back from the dead.
Yeah.
She's doing it really fast now.
But yeah, that was always interesting. That was interesting to me when I had that thought. Is like, did they deliberately make it so that it wasn't magic? Like, it
I
was
think
all
so.
tech.
I think they wanted to really make this IP stand out from Warcraft.
Yeah.
Make it be like, yep, it's a super colorful, bright world, but it's on Earth, so we're gonna kind of ground it a little bit, even though we have talking gorillas who carry Tesla cannons.
Yeah.
I think there was a lot of deliberate decisions made.
Yeah. It's science. It's not
Yeah.
magic.
The power of science.
Yeah, exactly.
That was
That's how you
really
get
good.
tinnitus.
Thank you. That's how you get tinnitus. There's so many good voice lines in this
I
game.
love this. I love this game. As much as I hate it, I love it. I love
Yeah.
it more than I hate it.
I think we're gonna be playing it for a very long time.
I can't believe I got you into it.
It's not my kind of game.
yeah. I remember when I was a higher level than you. Like I remember those days and I look back on them fondly, and now you've lapped me maybe 4 times.
I mean, like, I used to have a life. And no joke, Overwatch actually ruined my life.
No, but you literally learned how to play.
This is
an
my first-
FPS
yes.
from
You-
scratch.
yeah, you were
Yes.
scary good at this game.
Like you didn't know how to move and shoot at the same time.
remember
No. Yes, I did not.
Because then we do
And-
KKG,
Yes. There
like
was.
really, really early on, and you were standing in place as Soldier.
Yes.
shooting.
Yes.
That was fun.
It was my first time ever playing a game like this. And then it's been
Yeah.
a year. And
Yeah.
look how far I've
And
come
now
in a
you're
year.
Fucking like, you're
You go full on Battle Mercy
diamonds.
now.
Well, now you guys
Diamond
are just
Mercy.
feeding my ego.
Yeah.
But
Well, it's just like I think that is a testament to Overwatch's design.
yes, it's
That
well,
it's very
okay.
accessible.
Yeah.
I wish I could say that it was all Overwatch and that's the reason why I play it, but it's not. To be fair, a lot of the majority of the reason why I play Overwatch so often is that is usually my social activity of that day.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah, we all play together.
without Overwatch, I mean, granted, I would have more things going on in my life, but I would not have as much of a social life because I keep up with friends. I've made friends online through Overwatch.
Yeah.
And if it wasn't for Overwatch, I don't think I would have gotten that social activity. So it has actually helped me a lot with depression and anxiety, and I can attribute a lot of that to the multiplayer aspect of it.
I gotta agree with you there. Like I don't know, man. Like I don't have a lot of those games in my life where I know my friends are gonna be on it. And I know I can just like bullshit with people. Like I hadn't done that really religiously since high school.
Yeah.
And to like sort of like experience that again, where I like it's like where it's 9 o'clock at night and it's like, oh, I'm not doing anything. I wonder who's on Overwatch, and then just being able to like hang out with friends, just doing whatever, whether like like competitive notwithstanding, because I can't play competitive with you guys yet. But it's just cool to have this as an outlet to hang out with friends.
Yeah, I have caught up with, learned more about, and like consistently hung out with friends that I wouldn't have otherwise if it weren't for Overwatch. So pretty.
And there's people in my friends list that I pretty much never play with, but I'll like chat with them
Yeah,
even while we're playing different games.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's just, it's nice. It feels good.
It's the future, man.
It's the present.
Do you remember when the Dreamcast had like a modem and you'd plug it into the Ethernet and you have to like and like 4 people were playing and like you couldn't chat with them and you just had to play a game. Like I played Outrigger. It was a fucking third-person arcade shooter. It was like an arena shooter. It was deathmatch basically.
Sounds very 2002.
But the controls were horrible and everything.
Sounds like Dreamcast.
But like, man, fuck you. Dreamcast is the best.
That controller's not great.
But no, it's a great controller.
I disagree.
Underestimated.
Next podcast.
Yeah.
Talk about Dreamcast.
I will talk about the Dreamcast for literally days because that was my first. That was the console that got me serious about gaming.
Really?
The cable comes out the bottom of the controller. Come on.
Well, you can clip it to the bottom. It has a thing that you
All
clip
right,
and it comes
all
out the
right.
top.
Jesus.
Anyway,
The memory card had a chow on it.
it was the first little
VMU.
tidbit about me of information. My dad got an NES when we were really young because he got it for free from a Dodge dealership. They were having a deal, and you bought a car, you get an NES. So I always had video games, but they were never like a huge part of my life. I just kind of played them every so often. And when I got my own room, I got my own TV. I hooked up the old systems. I was like, oh, I have those old systems. I should hook them up. So I did, and I played a little bit more. And I saw a fucking cosplay group of Jet Grind Radio. And I had seen the commercial for Jet Grind Radio prior to that. And I was like, I love this aesthetic. I want to play this game. So I saved up my money. It was $80. The Dreamcast was already on its way out. And I went to a pawn shop and bought the Dreamcast for $80. And I went to Target, and they had 3 Dreamcast games for sale. 2 of them were sold out. The only one that was left was Jet Grind Radio. And I was like, this is fucking destiny. So I bought it, brought it home, played it, and I was like, I play video games. That's the thing that I do.
Wow. So it wasn't until the
Dreamcast. It was the
Dreamcast.
Dreamcast. So I had a shit ton of games for the Dreamcast because that was my favorite console. Absolutely, 100%. And that's why I was so into fighting games because they were all in the Dreamcast. And
Man. Remember Power Stone 2?
Power Stone's fantastic.
That's a great game.
Oh, man. I gotta replay that game.
My fond memory of the Dreamcast was watching my buddy boot it up, and we were watching the opening pre-rendered cutscene of Sonic Adventure, and I was like, graphics will never look better than this.
Yeah, when I think of Dreamcast, I think of Sonic.
Yeah.
Shenmue is really big for me.
Fucking watery chaos.
Yeah.
Just monsters.
Shenmue was great.
Yeah, right.
Anyway, let's save that for another
Okay,
podcast.
next time Dreamcast.
Dreamcast.
We got a lot of Dreamcast nostalgia to get out.
Dreamcast.
Dreamcast.
The Pod Dream.
Drodcast.
Sweet.
Cool.
That I look
Did we
forward
do
to
it?
it.
Do we have a sign off yet?
Bye.